Genesis chapter 3 verse 8. And they heard the voice of the Lord Yahweh walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord Yahweh amongst the trees of the garden.
Right. Now it says, and they heard the voice of the Lord Yahweh walking in the garden in the cool of the day. What is that talking about? Simply that's going into, basically it was the prophets that were around back then. They were sitting there, they were letting them know that they went off, they went into the they went to the other philosophies of the other nations.
Side.
All right? That's what it was going into. Because it was prophets. See, what you got to understand, it was prophets back then. When the Lord tell you, matter of fact, can we get Amos,
Yep.
what's that, Amos
3 and 7.
3 and 7 real quick? Quick, fast.
Come.
See if this computer works with us. Might not. We might have to do some more post-production. So brothers, bear with us.
Amos chapter 3 verse 7. Surely the Lord Yahweh will do nothing.
Right, and that means that. Surely the Lord Yahweh will do nothing. The Most High is not going to be the one that's going to actually come on this earth. What he does is he created us. He sent us, just like right now. Who's the ones that's going out telling everybody that America is about to be destroyed? Us. The Most High sent us to do that. Go ahead.
But he revealeth his secret unto his servants the prophets.
Right, unto his servants the prophets. So back during the time of Adam, you had prophets that were there, and when Adam went off, the prophets came and they were getting on him. That's why I said they heard the voice of the Lord in the cool of the day. All right?
I have a precept.
Okay.
This is the book of St. Luke chapter 1 verse 70. As he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets.
Of the mouth of his holy prophets, go ahead.
Which have been since the world began.
Which have been since what? The world hath begun. Going back to the beginning during the time of Adam and Eve. So the prophets were back then. That's why the Lord said he hewed them down through the mouth of his prophets. All right?
I got one more.
Okay. Come with it.
All right. This is the book of Hebrews. All right. Chapter 1.
Verse 1.
Verse 1. That's right. Yahweh, who at sundry times and in diverse manners spake in time past unto the fathers.
Right, who spake in times past, in sundry times, in diverse manners, meaning at different times, in times past, going back to what? Even back in the time past when Adam and Eve was here.
In the garden.
In the garden. Go ahead.
Spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets.
By the who?
By the prophets.
By the prophets. So the voice of the cool in the day, the voice of the Lord, Yahweh walking in the garden in the cool of the day was what? Some prophets. All right, getting on Adam because they had went off into the philosophies of the other nations, going into all that other knowledge that the other nations was dealing with, which the Most High commanded them not to get into.
I got something dealing with the cool of the day.
Okay, brother.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes. All right, the 12th chapter and the first verse. It says, remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. Right, because the cool of the day is when you're cool. What is it? If you're outside in a cool day, and I'm talking about anywhere between 60 to 60 to 70 degrees. What? That's pretty much a cool day. You know, a comfortable day where you're not too hot, you're not too cold, you're comfortable. There's nothing that that you're uncomfortable about. You're as far as anything going wrong in your life, everything's cool. Now that's talking about the judgment of Yahweh B'Ashem Yahweh Shai. The cool of the day is, in other words, the word coming to you before a judgment of the Lord comes to you. Now, the hot day or the day of the Lord's judgment that's about to come is dealing with the thermonuclear destruction. Right now, we're fulfilling that cool of the day. We're out there still prophesying out in the streets to Jake.
Right.
we're condemning Esau,
Yep.
and we're prophesying that the kingdom of heaven is at hand because the thermonuclear destruction hasn't come yet. The fulfillment of the mark of the beast hasn't been fulfilled, totally yet. So in the concentration camps, the New World Order hasn't been fulfilled yet. That's not, that's the opposite of the cool of the day. Because when that stuff comes, you're not gonna be too cool. And Jake even got a saying, yo, you cool? In other words, you good? Are you good? No. In those days, Jake is not gonna be saying, are you good? Are you cool? Yo, you cool? Yo, you all right? No, because Jake is gonna be catching pure hell underneath Esau and the agenda that he has set up. So I just wanted to bring that out.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good point too, because right now we're in the cool of the day, and the voice of the Lord Yahweh is speaking to Jake, which is Adam, represents Adam. All right. So okay, so
All right, so back to Genesis chapter 3, verse 8.
verse 8. Yep.
All right, and they heard the voice of the Lord Yahweh walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord Yahweh amongst the trees of the garden.
Right. Now it wasn't like Adam and Eve was sitting there running around behind trees, ducking and hiding under bushes and stuff like that. It didn't represent that. Like we told you, those trees were talking about the other nations. All right, simple and plain. Okay, brother.
And with that, we'll bring in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 31, verse 8. The cedars in the garden of Yahweh would not hide him.
Right, and again, this is not talking about no regular cedar tree. And the hymn is speaking about, it's talking about Adam. This is going back to the garden. So the cedars in the what?
It says the cedars in the garden of Yahweh could not hide him.
Right, meaning what? Because Adam was, what we just read, Adam was trying to hide amongst the trees of the garden. But it said in Ezekiel, the cedars of the garden could not hide him, meaning the other nations. Adam couldn't sit there and blend in with the other nations because he stood out like a sore thumb. That's just like you get a Jake, a so-called Jake or a Negro that's into in Africanism. He stands out like a sore thumb. He might be sitting there celebrating Kwanzaa and all this other bullshit, but he don't look like a Hamite. You know what I'm saying? He got a different spirit because why? Jake, even though Jake gets caught up into all these different philosophies, which are from the other nations, they still stand out. You see, so that was the same thing with Adam. So that's why I said in Ezekiel 31 and 9, the cedars of the garden could not hide him. Go ahead.
The fir trees were not like his bows.
Right, and again, the fir tree was not like his bows. Talking about actual other nations. Not talking about no trees or whatever. It's comparing these people into trees. All right, go ahead.
Nor any tree in the garden of Yahweh was like unto him in his beauty.
Right, was like unto him in his beauty, meaning Adam. Because why? The Most High, he made Adam and everything in his image. He had laws.
That's
you
right.
understand? The other nations, they didn't have laws.
That's right.
Dietary laws, ceremonial laws, and so
Yep.
forth and so on. They didn't know that stuff. But Adam and them, they had it, man. So that's why I said it wasn't as beautiful as Adam. Because back then, Adam was beautiful, man. As far as having understanding, it wasn't written down on no tablets or nothing like that. But the Lord put it into him. He gave it to him.
I got a
what to eat
precept.
and what not to eat.
That's right.
Go ahead,
Because
brother.
all nations admired that in Israel, even to this very day.
Still.
That one, the only living power was close to them, and that the only living power gave them the right ways of life, of living, to allow you to live. And to this day they admire that. That's why Esau is trying to still trying to acquire that birthright, but they can't. That's why we are blacklisted. When it comes to the media, we're out there speaking, right in the heart of where 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
And and they always talking about this mosque that the Arabs are trying to build, and the imam and all this bullshit. But they always see us out there every week, and they never mention us, man. You know why? Because they know there's a difference between us and those Arabs.
Yeah, that's right.
They know that we are the Israelites and
Sure.
not the Arabs, and they don't want to give us no airplay at all whatsoever, because they know that once they do that, man, a lot of people's eyes will be opened up. But overall, It's the Lord's will, because the Lord don't want all Israel to wake up. That's why we are kept in secret, so to speak, although we're out in the open. So this is Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter, and the 7th verse. For what nation is there so great, who hath the Most High so nigh unto them, as the Lord our power, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, is in all things that we call upon him for? And what nation is there so great, that hath statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law?
Right, and that's why when you read down in Ezekiel, it said the trees of the garden envied Adam.
Yes, sir.
Because why? The Most High was dealing straight up with Adam. Remember, the gods of the nations were what?
Idols.
Not the Most High. So they didn't, and the Most High was a true and living power, and they seen what the Most High, what he did and everything.
Yeah.
So they were envious of that, man.
Yeah.
Adam having the orders and everything like that. But you know, Adam never knew what it was like to go off and everything, and it was set up in the spirit.
It was all the Lord's will.
It was all the Lord's will that they were gonna go off. Adam was set up already, man. Right.
For what nation is there so great, who hath the Most High so nigh unto them, as the Lord our power, is in all things that we call upon him for?
In other words, whatever Adam asked for back then, they got it. The Most High gave them everything that they wanted. See, now the Most High is like, because now we got to go through this punishment and everything. But back then, the Most High was right there with them, which how the Lord is going to be with us in the kingdom. All right, go ahead.
And what nation is there so great, that hath statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law which I set before you this day?
Right. That shows you that the nations, they envied him, because the Most High made Adam beautiful by what? The laws and the statutes and the commandments and the judgments that he set unto them this day. Go ahead.
Only take heed to thyself, and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen.
Right, and that's what happened with starting from Adam. He forgot about the commandments, man, and he went and followed the other nations. So that's why the voice of the Lord Yahweh came to him in the cool of the day. And see, and Adam knew that he messed up, and he tried to what? Go hide into the other nations, into their philosophies, amongst the other trees. Go ahead.
Lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen, and lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life, but teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons, especially the day that thou stoodest before the Lord thy power in Horeb, when the Lord said unto me, gather me the people together, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they shall live upon the earth, and that they may teach their children. All right, so that's pretty much that goes for Jake right now, this very day. So showing you that the Lord, when you hear about a Jake getting shot in the street, a little Jake baby getting run over by a Mack truck or something like that, is because Israel has not sanctified their sons unto the Lord, man, especially their firstborn, because that's the law. So the law is still going. The law still exists. That's why these pastors, these preachers in the churches, they have to die because they're teaching Israel to go the other way, to follow the ways of Esau, knowing that they're supposed to follow the laws, statutes, and commandments the Lord laid down, or else it's death. All right, so that's why the time is coming where you're gonna hear more and more about shootings in churches. These false pastors, these TV evangelical people getting shot right on TV while you're watching, right on TV, man. And then it's gonna be like a big outrage. Oh, see, religious fanatics, and then the Illuminati is gonna try to rush in on the Bible. Oh, see how we have to do away with the Bible because you see you see the extremists, these religious extremists going crazy, and that's when the word of the Lord is gonna be hidden. Now, where is that? I believe is the book of Ezekiel. The day will come. I will make your tongue cleave unto your mouth. give us a second, brothers, because pretty much that's the days we're coming to, where we're not going to be out there too much longer prophesying the word of the Lord. You know why? First of all, the Lord's out there mainly for us to condemn the world, just like Noah did, just like Abraham did, just like the top prophets did. So the time is coming right now, and we're living in it, where we're not going to be, prophesying too much out there at all, let me say, in the streets. So,
I got one for you.
yeah, go ahead, bring it out.
This is one in the book of Amos, chapter 9, verse 11. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread